What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll take you through how I changed the rear brake discs and pads on my 2016 Peugeot Boxer, adjusted the handbrake, and how that simple job turned into a 350-pound mistake. In this box we've got everything ready for the rear brake job in brake pads, brake discs, handbrake shoes and all the caliper accessories. So I got the van on jack stands and pulled off the rear calipers. Pads were gone, discs had a nasty lip, straightforward stuff. 2 bolts, clean the hub, throw on the new rotor. But don't skip the handbrake adjustment. This Boxer uses a drum and disc setup. If you don't tighten it while you're in there, your handbrake will feel like it's not even connected. While working, I spotted something worse, movement in the lower ball joint. Turns out some cheap aftermarket part was slapped in there before I bought the van. And here's the dangerous part: when that fails, the CV joint can pop out. You lose power instantly. That's exactly what happened. I was 15 minutes from my drop-off. Van stalled, no drive, middle of the road. Breakdown service shows up, lifts it, takes me to the garage, and gives me the bill. 350 pounds for 15 minutes. First, I cleaned the hub surface with a wire brush and some brake cleaner. You want a clean flat surface so the new disc sits perfectly. Then I slide the new disc onto the hub. If it's loose fitting, I'll use a lug nut or small screw to hold it in place while I work. Next, I remove the caliper bracket and clean the slider pin channels. I check the pins. If they're dry or sticking, I clean them and apply high temp brake grease. I also wire brush the pad contact points on the bracket and clean them up. This helps prevent the pads from sticking. Once it's clean and greased, I bolt the caliper bracket back onto the axle securely. 4. Insert the new brake pads. Now I fit the new brake pads into the bracket. Make sure they sit snug and move freely in the guides. They shouldn't be too tight. If the pads come with anti-squeal shims or clips, I make sure those are properly installed too. Before reinstalling the caliper, I use a piston rewind tool or a C-clamp to push the piston back into the caliper. This makes space for the new, thicker pads. With the piston compressed, I slide the caliper over the pads and line it up with the bracket. Then I insert and tighten the caliper bolts, and I always use thread locker if the manual recommends it. Once everything is in place, I double check all bolts, give the disc a spin to make sure it moves freely, and pump the brake pedal to restore pressure. With the brake job done, I lift the wheel and line it up with the hub. Make sure the bolt holes are aligned. Sometimes it helps to rest the wheel on your foot to guide it in. I start all the lug nuts by hand, just to make sure they're threading correctly. You don't want to cross thread these. That'll ruin your day. Using a Torca wrench, I tighten the lug nuts in a crisscross or star pattern. This makes sure the wheel seats evenly against the hub. I Torca them to spec. On the Peugeot Boxer, that's usually around 180 Newton meters, but always check your manual. Once the van is fully lowered, I give each lug one last Torca check and make sure the wheel spins freely with no noise or rubbing. With the new discs and handbrake shoes installed, I adjust the handbrake manually. Inside the disc there's a small toothed wheel. I spin it with a flathead screwdriver until the shoes lightly drag on the drum. Then I back it off slightly so the wheel turns freely, but you still get a firm handbrake feel. Once both sides are done, I check the handbrake lever inside the van. Should hold firm by the 3rd or 4th click. While the van was down, I took the chance to respray it. Why? Well, FedEx doesn't allow colored vans for contractors. White vans only, company policy. So if you want the contract, you gotta play by the rules. First step, we start by removing everything that shouldn't be painted. Lights, trim, badges, mirrors, handles, number plates, and door seals. This makes sure we don't get paint on the parts we want to keep clean, and it also allows for better edge coverage. 3. Sanding the old paint. Then we sand down the existing paint using an orbital sander with 320 to 400 grit. The goal is not to strip it to metal, but to dull the surface and give the new paint something to grip. Any areas with chips, scratches, or corrosion are sanded deeper or feathered out to smooth transitions. Once the body is prepped, we mask all remaining areas that won't be painted. Glass, tires, door gaps, and anything sensitive. Next up, we apply a high build primer over the entire surface. Now the fun part, the new color. We apply the white base coat in 2 or 3 layers for full coverage, letting each coat flash off between passes. 8. Clear coat for protection. Once the white paint is on, we finish with 2 coats of clear. This locks in the color, adds shine, and protects the finish from UV and weather damage. After paint and clear are dry, either air dried or in a heated booth, we reassemble all the removed parts and clean everything up. After all that stress, I needed to clear my head, so I took my girl, jumped in the Audi A7, and we drove to the Lake District. On the road to the Lake District, just the 2 of us in the Audi, windows down, music up, singing together like kids. No rush, no stress, just hills, lakes, and laughter. That moment felt like freedom. We passed through Windermere, drove the Kirkstone Pass, stopped by Ullswater. The silence up there, the green, the wind, it's medicine. So yeah, one brake job turned into a breakdown, a paint job, and a mental reset. That's real life on the trades. The Lake District. It's like stepping into a painting. Rolling green hills stretching as far as you can see, with narrow winding roads cutting through valleys carved by time. The lakes themselves, deep, still, like mirrors, reflect the sky so perfectly it feels unreal. You pass stone walls and sheep grazing freely, and every now and then a view opens up that makes you pull over and just breathe. From the peaks of the fells to the calm waters of Windermere and Ullswater, it's peaceful, raw, and powerful. A place where silence has weight and the landscape resets your soul. Old cottages tucked into the hillsides. The roads in the Lake District, they're not just roads, they're pure driving joy. Narrow, winding serpentines that twist through the hills like ribbons laid across the landscape. You climb higher with every turn, and suddenly the whole valley opens up behind you. No guardrails, just stone walls, sheep on the side, and that feeling that you're floating above everything. Driving through Kirkstone Pass or Hardknot, it's part thrill, part peace. Every curve pulls you deeper into the heart of the mountains. Windermere isn't just the name of the lake, it's also one of the most charming little towns in the Lake District. Picture cozy streets, traditional stone buildings, small cafes with the smell of fresh scones, and gift shops full of handmade things you don't really need but definitely want. The vibe is calm, welcoming, like time slows down there. You've got the lake on one side, green hills on the other, and boats slowly crossing the water with people just soaking in the peace. It's the kind of place where you grab a coffee, sit by the shore, and forget your phone exists. somewhere along the road, music blasting, windows down, and we just started dancing in our seats. You know that feeling when you're not even thinking, you're just vibing. Yeah, that was us. Car karaoke and mini dance battles right there in the front seats of the Audi. As the sun started to set behind the hills, we headed back, tired but recharged. The Lake District gave us exactly what we needed: space to breathe, time to laugh, and moments we won't forget. It wasn't just a road trip, it was a reset, and sometimes that's all you really need. If you're into van life, car maintenance, or just honest stories from the road, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more. Catch you in the next one.